Good afternoon, HROnboarders, and welcome to our first Masterclass for 2020. It's February already, and the year has started off with a bang. We've all come back from holidays, and I know you guys as well are straight back into it. And we're starting the year off with a very, very popular update that has been keeping the customer success team ridiculously crazy. And today we're going to give you a bit more of an insight into our new letters module. So let's get stuck into it and let's talk letters. So letters really came about as we were sort of reinventing the crossboards concept. So over 6 years ago now, when HROnboard was first born and we released our onboards module, onboarding was such a new thing and we were really excited. And then sort of the next iteration of that was, well, customers need to issue contracts to existing employees. We don't want them to go through a new hire experience. We don't need them to fill out their TFN or their super. So Crossboards was born, and Crossboards was adopted really quickly and really widely because we were seeing that there was a lot more sort of internal transitions and promotions and things happening rather than those brand new hires. So Crossboards had a lot of heavy traffic. But over the years, Crossboards has grown in its use case, and what we were finding was that you guys were using Crossboards and there was sort of a mixture of contracts in the Crossboards workflow, but then we started seeing these letters pop up, and there were all sorts of variations from absolute use cases where we go, yeah, of course you want to send someone a letter because they've got an increase in salary, or they're changing their hours, and of course you want that documented. And so it was really being iterated on and it has been over the last few years. But what was sort of happening was we did have this mixture of contracts and letters in your workflows. And then we were also getting feedback of, actually, I do just want to send a letter, but I don't want them to have to go through verifying an SMS code or being even able to decline a letter, because you shouldn't have to decline a variation. So we're getting lots of feedback about it. So that is why we developed letters. Why letters is becoming really popular, I don't know if you guys will agree with me or not, but I think a lot of it is down to two things. I think compliance is a massive thing. I think having that audit of all of those sort of key moments and events that happen throughout the employee life cycle is really, really critical for legal teams, for HR teams. So, it's not exciting, but yes, compliance is a big factor. I think the next thing as well is to have really everything in the one place, both for you guys as HR teams and both as, from an employee perspective as well. So, if you're going for a home loan or, you need to verify your pay details and everything, people can just go into the HROnboard portal and they've got their first contract there if they've been onboarded. They might have a secondary contract if they've been promoted, and then any kind of other variation letters are there on hand. So it's really nice and easy for them. And we'll talk about it in a minute, but probably one of the biggest driving use cases was salary reviews and having a real dedicated workflow to that. We know it's an annual process. So yeah, that was massive feedback that we were getting. So we developed letters, and we wanted to make it an easy process, easy to create and easy for employees to accept. And you guys will see that as, yes, I'm going to throw to a live demo, so hold on to your hats, people. And we just wanted to make it really easy. And so it's a really straightforward workflow that is fast, but a really good experience at the same time. But you also have sitting behind that all of that awesome configuration that you currently have with onboards or crossboards and exits, so that each use case you use letters for is all uniquely designed. So if you're going to do a secondment, we're going to have those corresponding fields there for you of current location, current salary, new line manager, those types of things. So while it's really easy and simple, we still make sure that the configuration is fit for purpose as well. We're not anticipating a whole heap of fields for letters or anything like that, but we just want to make sure it's the right information as well. And just so you know, there's no setup fees or configuration costs around letters at all. What you guys need to really consider is what impact that might have to your current usage. And if you don't have crossboards, then yeah, definitely come talk to us because that will be a little bit different. Cool. Let's move on. So these are the use cases that we've seen crop up recently through the crossboards module, but we only released this two weeks ago, and we actually already have customers using the letters workflow and some of these use cases. So I know Sasha's in the room today. She's already created a parental leave letters workflow, and it looks awesome. But what you can see here is not a definitive list or anything. It's really what we've come across in our journey. You could have something as general as a variation letter just to cover any ad hoc things that might arise, and we know that happens. So we want it to be really flexible. If there's anything in this list that you think we're really missing, please do let us know. But this is what we're sort of seeing develop as the use cases for letters. Now you'll see that I have bolded salary bonus reviews at the bottom because this is probably the thing that's creating the most noise. As I said, we know it's an annual process and it's typically a long process for HR teams, typically haggling with mail mergers and team manager negotiations and all those types of things. So out of all of those use cases, we're going to take you through what a salary review letter looks like today. But we want you to really keep in mind that all of the config and the process can apply to any of the other use cases you see here or the use cases that you speak to us about. Cool. Now, here's a little bit of a spot the difference quiz for you guys. This is a screenshot of the create letter process. There is a big detail missing here, Scott. What is that detail? What field, a pretty important field, have we taken out of this process?
It looks like we've got no mobile number.
Gold star for you. Yes, absolutely. So with letters, you actually don't need the mobile phone number of the employee, which makes it really easy, especially if you're doing a bulk exercise. You might have to send 200, we have sent 2,500 letters out previously. Awesome projects, a few grey hairs, but one of the big barriers was, customers putting up their hand and saying, we actually don't have all of our employees' mobile phone numbers, or we're not sure if they're still accurate, still current. So that sort of became a barrier. So we designed this process so that we can take the mobile phone number out. It's not dependent on it at all. The employee doesn't even need to provide their phone number. And that's just really going with the ease of the process, being able to set it up so that you don't have to go search for other details. So that's a screenshot of a salary review process, but we've got some here. You would have seen this in the video. We don't need to teach you guys how to create a letter. You guys probably do this more than we do every day. So it's really, really straightforward to do. And we just wanted to show you basically a couple of screenshots of what some of those use cases do look like. As I said though, Letters has also all of the great features behind it with the configuration. You can see when you adopt Letters, it's really nicely, easily set out on your dashboard there. It means that you can find them really easily in your reports and in your Insights report as well. So we have redesigned the UI so that Letters appears. And for anyone using Crossboards, you'll see that is now changed to contract updates, which is a pretty big thing. So everything sort of has gone into that contract updates pot. You might still want to keep everything in there and under contract updates. But as soon as we start getting letters use cases up and running, you'll see that they all fall under the letters workflow, and you can see from the Insights report just how easy it is to report on them. So that's sort of how your UI changes and all of those features around it. But what does the employee experience? And so, cue live demo. Before this masterclass, I created a salary review letter for Scott, who is sitting right next to me. He doesn't actually know this. So this is going to be a surprise to Scott that he's gone through a salary review.
And I'm very excited.
So the same thing happened with Scott's experience as an employee. He received an email to his inbox, and you can see the wording's a little bit different because this is a new workflow. We can really change that terminology. So instead of sort of welcome, we've got congratulations. And you can also see on the side here, we have only 2 progress bars. You might, some of your environments have, 10 for onboards, maybe, even more. And even in the crossboards process, there can be 5 or 6. So again, goes to, the ease of use. This is all configurable wording. It's a little bit vanilla at the moment, but this is what we would work with you to update. And one of the projects we have on at the moment for a salary review process is the CEO has actually created a 1-minute video. It took very little time for HR to put together. And the CEO has a video here congratulating the team on a great year. That the salary's well deserved. It's a really good, feel-good environment. And, you don't have to do a video. You could even do your own letter from an HR business partner or something like that. But again, it's just all about a really great experience. Now, there's also, Scott, spot the difference. There's also one thing here that's a little bit different.
It looks like I can't decline my letter and ask for more money.
Okay, so let's check out your letter and see if you want to decline it. So the letter gets downloaded on that front page if they want to check it out first. Scott, do you want to maybe think about
I think that'll be acceptable, actually. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Don't tell Pete I'm giving you a $600,000 salary increase. But yes, one of the things we've taken out as part of the letters workflow is that option to decline. We know that it has created sort of unnecessary noise and headaches for HR previously, and especially for some of the salary review projects we've gone through. We don't want your employees having the ability to decline their letter. Probably the other thing to note here as well is that we don't want this to replace face-to-face meetings either. This is really complementing this whole process. So those face-to-face talks with managers and things would still take place. But yes, this is just a way to complement it all. So we proceed to the next step. We've got an acknowledgement. So the terminology again has changed, not so much as acceptance, it's really acknowledging. So we can download the letter and agree to the terms. So you guys know that these actions would all fall into the audit trail, that wonderful audit trail that is really great, again, for compliance, but also visibility. And that is really as easy as it is. Employees can acknowledge and continue and just go to the final landing page. And they'll then have their collection of all of their documents through the My Offer or My Events part of their portal. So that letter would then be added to their portal along with their initial contract or other crossboards if they have them. So that's really as straightforward as it is. That's a salary review process that I've taken you through, but that concept of what the employee experiences would be similar if you're doing higher duties or a secondment, change of location or reporting manager, those types of things. it's a very, very similar experience. We don't have time to show you through all of those use cases today, but I really hope that gives you a really good flavour of what it's like. So I'm going to jump out of the live demo and back into our slides. And that's as easy as it is. So I'd love to hear questions, Scott, if we've got them.
Yep, so we've got a few questions already.
Good.
So the first question is there still an option to send the letter to review?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So that review process is still there. You might need a review process, say, for a salary review letter if you just want the team manager to sign it before it goes to the employee. But you might not want the review process, say, for a location change or a reporting lines change. So we can be really customisable with that and can sort of toggle that on or off to suit the purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Another question. So can you upload your own templates, or are they standard HROnboard templates?
All customisable. So when we do the bulk import process, it's all based on the fields you need us to create in your environment. So it's not a standard environment. It's not out of the box. All very configurable based on the information you need to collect or input.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Can we bulk create letters?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's been, I think we did our first bulk activity in 2015, and that was 1,700 letters. So that bulk import process is probably something that we see even on a weekly basis here. When you jump into your environment next and you go to create an offer, have a look at the bulk import.
Yep.
Yep. So there's the bulk import feature there. What that does is it downloads a CSV file that gives you all of the fields in your environment that you would need to import a letter or whatever workflow you're using. So it's a process that we see happen all the time.
Cool. And can we export the data in bulk as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So the summary or the detailed report that you will find in reports is something that you can extract as well. Yep.
Cool. If we already have some letters that are set up in a HROnboard module,
yep.
Can we move these into a letters module?
Yes, you can. So for existing customers where everything has come into the contract updates module, and you do want an easier process for some of those existing use cases, through our support team, we're happy to work with you just to reconfigure that and get that and translate that into the new letters workflow. That will all be part of your subscription and go all towards your support hours. So we really want to make that really quite easy and straightforward. You might need to do a little bit of testing once we get it into letters, but because it's really light on with data and workflow, we should get you up and running quite quickly. We're getting lots of queries, you guys. So the support team are a little bit, oh my God, what have you done? I think they're okay now in delivering everything, but I've geared them up to be busy because I thought we'd get a few questions and a few scenarios like that once you've seen it in more detail.
Another good question here. Can we set it up so the managers create the letters and then HR review it? Oh,
absolutely. That's such a good process. And that's something that we're seeing happen more and more, whether working with a new customer and they're bringing HROnboard in, they move from sort of a centralised HROnboard process to actually giving the managers a bit more accountability and knowing how easy it is for HROnboard to use. The team managers actually start either the contract or the letter creation process. And because with what you've seen with letters, they really shouldn't have too much difficulty in creating a letter. So rather than you guys sort of having the bulk of this, definitely get your managers in there. You guys can act as approvers. It's really, really easy to deploy if it's a sort of a change management process. You might already have your managers acting as reviewers, so they might already be familiar with with HROnboard anyway. But because it's so easy, grab a pilot of people who haven't done it before and get their feedback. Get a really good mixture of people who are really good with change and technology, and also another little group who might not be real great when it comes to changing technology, and that's a really good benchmark to go from. But we've had really successful projects where sort of that is decentralised out to managers.
Cool. Can we trigger a journey for the employee?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So for those of you familiar with our welcomes module and the journeys that you can create within welcomes, so welcomes gets instigated when a new hire accepts a new contract. However, we're getting some really cool new journeys being created where it's based on something like a promotion to a team leader. So it's almost like a contract update journey where someone's being promoted into a new role. You might, I'm just thinking, this is really thinking out loud, if it's change of location, then you want to use like the Google Maps plugin in welcomes or something like that, and the places to eat and what's unique to that office. You could have a journey for new location. That would be cool. Stop me if I'm saying, no, you're a good Scott, you're happy with this. Yeah, I'd really love to see and hear about your ideas on using journeys with your letters and the use cases that come from letters, definitely.
Yeah. Do employees need to log in to view their letter?
Yes, they do. So it is just like how they've logged in if they've received an onboard or a crossboard. They receive an email. The login link is in the email. They just need to pop their password in, and away they go. It's really straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Is the acknowledgement tick box legally binding?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just the same as if it's a contract. It's just we've just worded it a bit differently, haven't we? Yeah.
Slightly different wording.
Wording.
And then no two-factor acceptance, but that's not required for it to be legally binding.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, that was the other thing, spot the difference, that we didn't cover was that SMS verification that all the employees receive when they're accepting a contract. That didn't happen when we acknowledged the letter. Yeah, that's not for any kind of legal purposes. It's more of a sort of an extra step in identification. So everything is still binding as if it would be a new contract.
Yep.
And we can put acceptance placeholders in there, can we?
Yep.
In a letter?
So you can still have acceptance placeholders in there, and you can still choose to have it as an acceptance with decline as well.
Yeah.
So you've got that option.
Yeah. So when we showed you that the decline button wasn't there, you can still have that if you needed it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's sort of flexible that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Wow, look at those questions.
I know.
Love it. Can
the salary increases, if we're doing that use case, feed into the payroll system?
So, it depends, doesn't it, Scott? So it depends on the payroll system that you use. We know with other projects, salary review projects we've done, we have been able to integrate into the payroll system because the payroll system was able to handle the update and not sort of create a new record. So I would really need to speak to you guys about the payroll system you use. We know Procedure. Anyone using Procedure happily accepts a rate increase or a salary update. There's a few more we'd love to test it on. So yeah, give us those details because totally acknowledge that doing it in bulk, you'd want to feed that through quite nicely to your payroll system. Yeah, so we would investigate all of that for you.
Can we use list of values with letters?
Yes, you can. Yep.
And a follow-up question to that one is, will they be shared with other modules? So I can answer this one. They're specific to a workflow. So they're per workflow, you have to have them set up.
Yes, if that answers that question.
Yep. And if it doesn't,
let me know.
Reach out to us.
Got phone call.
Costs for setup was a question?
Yep, so no costs for setup or configuration or even ongoing as you add on more use cases. We know some customers have gone live with 1 or 2 use cases with the intention of rolling that out further over the coming months. What you need to talk to us about is how that would increase your usage. So we know you guys will sign up to a plan, whether it's a 100 level plan, 200 level plan. That's where the impact will be. So we'd need to chat to you about that sort of individually. But yeah, definitely no setup costs.
Cool. And got another question here. So what's the difference between a contract update and a letter? Great
question. Really, really great question. So, do you want to go, Scott?
Yeah,
You're
I can answer this
one. Aren't you?
I get this question a lot. So it really depends on what document you're generating and giving to the employee.
Yep.
So if you are generating a contract, it's a contract update, because that's what they're downloading and accepting, and they can decline, renegotiate, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But if the document you are generating is a letter, then it goes in the letters workflow.
Yep.
So it's can be as simple as that.
Yeah. So a contract update would be something like if there was a promotion and they need a brand new contract, or
exactly.
They've reached the end of the contract and they need, rather than extension, maybe a brand new contract for a different role, then it would all go in there. And then adding contract updates, that's where we would still have that SMS verification code, the ability to decline, the mobile number in there. That's what typically sort of is what falls into contract updates. Yep, and then letters is that more watered down version. Yeah.
And probably one of the last questions, I'm guessing, Michelle, because we're nearly out of time.
Yeah.
Is can we include other forms in our letters workflow?
Yes, really good question. So you absolutely can. So if you want to choose this as an opportunity to have your important key policies as part of the workflow for the employees, you might want them to take that opportunity for them to acknowledge, an IT or an HR policy. So you can definitely have those types of policies in there. You might have someone who is being seconded and they get a car as part of that secondment. So we can make it really, really fluid in that, based on a promotion or higher duties, they do need to accept or get information about, the new, the temporary role, whether it is getting a car. It might even be, if you guys think about it, if someone's on higher duties, they might temporarily have a work mobile phone. So for that workflow, you might need to think about the notifications that you send out. So, IT, security badges, those types of things. So all of that, and that's all that you see in onboards, will still be available for you in letters.
Cool. Now, I said that was the last question. Do we have time for one more? Because there's a really good ending question.
Cool.
How do I go about organising the setup?
Oh, what a wonderful way to end the session. Okay, so my wonderful customer success manager, Nick, and I are available at any time. Over the past few weeks, there's probably a couple in the room who I've already met with already. We love speaking to you guys about your own unique use cases. So please reach out to us, either calling the main number, calling our mobiles, or emailing us. Now, Nick is actually meeting with some of you. I know, Alana, you get to have a coffee with Nick tomorrow morning. He's in Adelaide, for the rest of the week, but I am absolutely around. This is a topic that I'm really enjoying discussing with you guys. It's been probably one of the biggest changes especially the sort of the cross-boards aspect of HROnboard that we've had in a really long time. And already seeing, the use cases live already has been really awesome for us. So It is as simple as email me, call us, call the support team. We're all ready to organise either time to go through it in more detail with you, or talk about more specifically your configuration and getting your current setup into letters. Cool. Look at that attendance. We had a full room today, Scott. This is a hot topic. I'm so glad we've been able to release this for you all, and really looking forward to seeing these projects evolve and your environments evolve, and getting these really cool use cases up and running, and letters in your environment. So from a beautiful summer's day here in Melbourne, anyone who's in Melbourne at the moment will know I'm really joking. It's absolutely pouring with rain. Have a great day, everybody. Love doing these masterclasses. Would love to hear your feedback. If there's anything you want us to touch on next month in a particular masterclass, please let me know, and we'll look at putting together for you. But thanks, Scott, for being my sidekick.
No worries.
And let's go tell Pete you've got a $600,000 salary increase. It's in writing. All right, guys, have a great day, and look forward to catching up with you soon.